Currently, we're partnering with a Southwest Regional Healthcare Organization. They're aggressively acquiring independent practices and specialty centers. Their goal is to create a healthcare system that will better serve a larger customer base and provide integrated healthcare services. I met with the CEO of the healthcare system, and he told me that they're finding it very difficult to integrate the new businesses. He said there's a lot of confusion, and the stress the staff is experiencing is beginning to negatively impact their clients. He said, I think it's clash of cultures. Then he asked me, what should I do? So I'm often asked questions like this by CEOs, sponsors, targets, and what I typically do to get a better appreciation for how to respond is to ask a couple of follow-up questions, trying to really get underneath what the reasons are for asking the particular question at this particular time in the change journey. So my first question back to the CEO was, do those individuals and do the organizational leaders of those various medical centers, do they really understand why this consolidation is occurring? What has been the effectiveness of early communications? Has the why messaging really been clearly articulated? And who sent out those messages? Did they come from the leaders of the individual healthcare centers being acquired, or did they come from you, the CEO of the new entity? That makes a big difference. So, understanding the answer to that question really then helps us move forward. So, the desired state issue is a big one. Where are we? What are we trying to accomplish as an entity, this new organization? Are the actions leading toward the desired state going to be assimilation, meaning are we trying to take one organization and simply absorb it into the larger healthcare system? Are we assimilating them, just bringing them in? Second option or second potential desired state could be transformation, that we're looking at each of these individual healthcare organizations and we're looking at the parent, if you will, the acquiring healthcare system, and transformation meaning we're going to take the best from all of those satellites or all of those acquired healthcare centers and bring it in and transform the new entity. Or the third option for a desired state in this scenario could be coexistence, simply meaning that they're going to be absorbed legally into the larger healthcare system, but they're going to maintain a lot of their autonomy. They're going to continue to do things in the way they've always done them. They're going to continue to use the same business processes that they've used in the past. They're going to deliver healthcare in the same way that they've done in the past. So there's a potential conflict, an immediate conflict that has to get resolved, that after that decision is made, are we assimilating, are we transforming, or are we striving for coexistence? Having made that decision and effectively communicating it provides the foundation for us to really move forward and actually look at how are we going to effectively bring these groups together. Second thought, or second part of this challenge is what is in fact the culture clash going on? What are we observing? What are the behaviors that we're seeing that are really drawing the conclusion from the CEO I'm talking to that it's not working? Well, a couple of things come to mind when his conversation with me said the customers are starting to get stressed, or the customers are starting to be impacted. That's a very big deal, especially in a service organization, and especially in a situation where you're talking about healthcare, where the end result can really be very catastrophic. So we really need to understand what's behind that, what's motivating those challenges at the moment. Is it simply lack of clarity of the desired state? My experience tells me it's much more than that. That in fact, the CEO used the term culture clash. I'm sure it is culture clash. I'm sure that even within each of these entities that we're trying to pull together, there are individual cultures that need to come together. The big question is, does the desired state require the new entity, the new emerging healthcare system, to have one single culture? Really important question, because if the answer is yes, then our pathway, our journey through change management is very different than if in fact there are some negotiable aspects of each of these entities maintaining their own culture, but shifting some of the culture toward the healthcare entity, the larger healthcare system. So that decision has to be made. That decision has to be made. Once we understand, is one culture required? Once we understand, are there aspects of the current individual cultures that each of those entities can maintain and sustain? After those questions are answered, we modify our change plan. We make decisions around communication, learning, reward reinforcement recognition that will drive us toward that targeted end result, toward that targeted solution. The next important question then is, after we get that distinction, the question becomes, are the sponsors, are those individuals who are tasked with leading the change through each of those individual organizations, are they willing and able to truly sponsor? Do they understand what sponsor means? Do they have the skill set to do it? And equally important, are they on board? The culture clash is real. It is real, but we have to remember it's only one issue. The CEO referenced culture clash. I think there's a lot more behind that. I would really probe for other aspects of resistance in order to understand the full picture. Not only clarity of the desired state and an understanding of why does this change need to happen, but all of the other aspects. What has been their history with previous changes? Does the desired state require them to use new business processes? Is it going to be the integration of what works well in every organization, or is it going to be something new and foreign? So I would really encourage the CEO working with his change agent to get underneath the other aspects of resistance, acknowledge culture clash, maybe it's the focal point, but really understand everything else that's going on and be able to mitigate the resistance that's associated with that. We understand at the end of all of this conversation, it really is about the sponsor's understanding of the issues, concerns, and challenges, the sponsor's understanding of the resistance issues, and in the end, will he be willing to make the investment both personally as well as perhaps in dollars and other resources to bridge that gap, to actually move the people from resistance to acceptance, or will he look to the desired state, look to where we currently are on the journey, and make decisions to say, yes, that's important, but I'm willing to take the risk and not force the organization, not force the people to accept those components of the desired state.